This week, our heroes are back from camping, find out how it all went down, and we answer your questions. All this and more in this week's episode of the CCMouse Podcast. Is that a bear? Welcome to this week's episode of the CCMouse Podcast. We are good for your ears. I'm Dan, and you can find me everywhere at RFS Dan.
And I'm Jess, and you can find me at Gone to the Snow Dogs and Snow Dogs Vlogs.
We're coming to you live. Alive.
We are alive.
We are alive. We are back from 7 straight days of camping in the wild. I don't even know where to begin.
The beginning?
I guess begin at the beginning. But we're back home now.
We are.
It went by in a blur.
Yeah. I was trying to determine the other things that we did on certain days, and I'm like, no, we were here, and no, we were. You wrote it down, I hope, because I won't remember it until I go through all the vlog footage.
And we have lots of vlog footage.
Yeah, we do.
We have lots of footage
Yeah,
between multiple cameras. I think I took really good notes in the beginning here.
Yeah.
And then as the days go on, things got more like shorthanded and then eventually just hieroglyphics.
Right.
There's just a poo emoji with the camping emoji, a heart, and peaches. And I'm like, what did we do that day?
Right.
All right, okay, let's start at the beginning. So
in the beginning,
where we left off was we were leaving the next morning, and now it was the next morning.
Yeah, so we haven't podcasted because it's been 7 days. Yeah, it's been 7 days since we podcasted.
Yeah, we did it last week.
Okay, yeah.
So we're getting ready to leave. Here, you tell me if I have to take this out or not. But the night before, the newspapers call, and they're all like, "Hey, wait," because I imagine the newspaper here in this tiny town to be something like Spider-Man with J. Jonah Jameson, and they're just like, and Jess is like, okay, fine, be here at 9 a.m. tomorrow. I'm like, we're supposed to leave at 9 a.m, and I'm like, what's going on? Somebody's coming over from the Daily Bugle to interview you and the dogs. I don't even know what they want this time.
What was the one we saw up north? The Mining Gazette.
The Mining Gazette wanted to talk about you and how you do it. How do you do it?
I have no idea.
Right? So we could talk about that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this guy comes over and he's just all fascinated by your story and he's asking you all these hard-hitting questions.
He said it would take 30 minutes and it took an hour.
Of course. I knew it was going to take an hour. So that was very exciting.
Yeah, that'll be out in the paper on Saturday. Saturday.
Yeah, this Saturday.
Yep.
So if you're ever lost and then lost again, so you end up in this town, find it on your local newsstands.
Right.
Yeah.
Should be at the alpinanews.com too. It'll probably be on the actual website as well.
Yes.
That's what he said, because he got a video of the dogs playing, and he's like, that'll go up on the website. And I'm like, oh, you're in the 21st century. You have a website.
So I thought that was exciting.
It was. It made for a complicated leave the next morning, though, because we podcasted the night before we left, and then we didn't get everything ready, and everybody kept going, oh, you have all this stuff to get ready, and I kept going, oh, no, I'll just get it ready in the morning, and then the last minute things happened, and I went, why does this always happen to me?
I was wondering, I was like, we should do this, or we should make tuna stuffs, and you're like, no, that's for a future us.
Yeah.
And then it was now us.
Yeah, it was.
So after you were done being famous, we packed up everything.
Yeah, we did.
We managed,
and everything fit, even though you didn't think it would.
Everything did fit.
Yeah, that camper's bigger than you think.
Yeah, it is. So we get in the camper, and here's the visual. Jess has her Jeep.
Yep.
And the camper's on the back of it.
Yep.
And that's where Jess and I are driving.
Yep.
Well, you're driving it.
Yeah, you're not driving it. I drove it.
It's an important job to ride shotgun.
Yeah.
You don't understand, everybody. My job was to crack the sodas, to open the bag of chips.
Yeah.
To dish out the hot mustard.
You had to be the co-pilot.
Right,
Somebody's got to be the co-pilot.
And when you say look at that, I have to look at that. Oh, what was that?
I have no idea. But I should probably go look.
Go check.
What are you doing? Are you tearing the house apart?
Way to go, Kira.
Yeah.
Yeah, so co-pilot is an important job. And then the other Jeep was Greg and Jamie.
Yep.
And they were our, oversized, watcher.
Yes, because the mirrors on my Jeep, I have tow mirrors, but they're useless. Even though my Jeep is designed to tow things, nobody has figured out how to make a good set of tow mirrors for my Jeep. So I have these winged out mirrors that show me nothing unless I sway the camper just a little bit in the right way so I can see behind me properly. So Jamie does it way better than I do. Like when he's driving it, he can figure it out. When I'm driving it, I can't see behind me.
How come they don't have like GoPros on the back of these like RVs and it just wires into your television?
They do on new ones.
Okay, yeah.
Mine's
so you
7
can
years
see back
old.
there. Okay.
I don't have all the new technology in mine.
So you were camping in your camping because it was old camper.
Yeah.
So we load up and off we go. And I'll tell you what, I didn't think that it would pretty much pull effortlessly. Like it wasn't all the way up there. We didn't even notice it. You were pulling a camper, really.
Yeah.
And then you had this weird little pinchy device. I'm like, what's that thing? It looks like a taser.
Yeah, it does kind of look like a taser.
I'm like, what are you doing with that thing? And it pulls the brakes on the camper.
It pulls the brakes on the camper. My camper has a set of brakes. I have a dual axle camper, which means it has 2 axles, if you don't know what that means.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do now. I learned.
And it has brakes on it. So it's a braking system inside my Jeep that you can, if you're not slowing down fast enough, when I hit the brakes in my Jeep, it makes the brakes in the camper go. But if I need them to be a little bit, like if I need to hit the brakes a little bit harder, because there's only one level without that adjuster, I can just squeeze that adjuster together and it pulls the brakes on the camper a little bit harder.
Yeah, we only use that a few times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But up the road we go. It was really nice. It was really nice pulling the camper.
It pulls really nice, and we had Jamie behind us telling me when I was allowed to pass and turn.
Yeah, we had walkie-talkies. Oh my gosh, the walkie-talkies were so fun. We had and then at one point somebody else was on our signal.
Yep. So we were trying to talk to them, but they wouldn't talk back to us.
There's no privacy on the walkie-talkies.
No.
So that was kind of cool because anytime something would happen or you would see something, oh, hey, is that an eagle over there? Yeah. Yeah. So that was kind of fun. So off we go. We have the dogs in the back, and the dogs are so well behaved in the car. Kira especially.
Kira is much more. We should put her in the car right now because she's not being well behaved right now.
She looks like she's trying to be bad.
She is trying to be bad. She's in there. Her toy, I think, got stuck behind the chair again. That's what she was knocking stuff over. But
yeah, she's in here to file some sort of complaint right now.
Yeah, is that what you're doing? Are you filing a complaint? Why is nobody paying attention to me? How come we're not doing all the things?
Hi, what?
Yeah, she is a very, for being only a year and a half old, she is a very seasoned car rider. And I think it's because of that 2-week cross-country road trip we did with her when she was 14 weeks old.
Yeah.
She was given no option but to figure out how to lay down in the car and ride when we did 11 and 12-hour days of driving.
She just laid there.
That's all she does. She gets in the Jeep and she lays in her bed. Memphis is pretty good too, but every once in a while Memphis has to come up front and be like, hey, what are you doing? What's going on? Can I see out the window? Can you open a window for me? And then she kind of goes back.
Memphis is like a child. Like, you can only keep a kid in a car for so long before they're like done with everything.
Yep.
Yeah, and she'll come back forward. She'll want her head out the window.
Yep.
She'll want to drool on me.
Or sneeze on us. You know.
Yes. Oh, they were great. They were great the whole trip up there. So it's going to be like a 7-hour day of driving.
6.5 hours of actual drive time. But then you have to factor in gas mileage. Pulling a trailer sucks, so we have to stop for gas more than often. We have to let the dogs out to go to the bathroom. We have to go to the bathroom. We have to find food on the trip up there. So 6.5 hours turns into 7.5 hours pretty quick.
Yes. So I was going like, wow, this is going to be kind of just boring in the car and stuff. But it wasn't.
No.
It was a lot of fun, and stopping all the time was great because then you got to get the new snacks.
Yep.
I found so much snacks that were different packages than out in California. So I was pretty happy about stopping at each gas station going, ooh, like what kind of weird is going to be in here?
And it wasn't like we didn't really stop at a lot of chain gas stations either. It was always like I always tend to stop at like the more locally gas stations and ones that like, the Shell and the BP are really common here in Michigan. So I like to stop at not the Shell and the BP because I know what they have. So I'm like, I want to stop at the Zephyr. I want to stop at this little gas station with no name. Unbranded. Was that what it said?
Unbranded. Unbranded gas station. Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh. The only way I could tell on this trip how far out of town I was is at each gas station we went to, the food section would get smaller and the bait section would get bigger.
Yeah.
The one we went to had more bait and mosquito stuff and then Slim Jims. Yeah. So off we go. I'm super excited. I don't know what to expect. My my worry about a trailer bouncing all over the road just was gone right away because it didn't happen. There's some crazy tow package they have where like it just doesn't move. So off we go to the bridge.
Yeah.
The bridge that we've talked about for years.
Literally
years. Yes. And we get to this bridge and this bridge is like 5 miles long and I'm like, cool, we're going to be on the bridge for like an hour. I don't know. Whatever math. I thought it was going to be this big, massive bridge. So we start crossing the bridge, and it was really, really neat.
Yeah.
It was really neat. It wasn't windy.
No, not on the way up there.
And it's kind of cheating. They're measuring it from the back because it's not even a bridge until like the top. Otherwise, it's just an incline.
No, it's still a bridge.
It's an incline until there's water underneath you.
There was still water underneath us.
I guess there was still a little bit, but it just, I don't know. It was really neat to go into the grates.
Yeah.
At one point, I stuck my head out the window, and I don't know how any of this footage is going to pan out because we recorded a lot. But I was hanging my GoPro out the window, and you could see the water underneath. Yeah. And just didn't like it.
No, not one bit. Not one bit.
Nope. It's interesting.
I'm like, I'm going to drive on the grates for you, but I don't like it.
Yep.
But I'll do it.
So we did it, and it was fine. It was nice getting over there. 5 miles doesn't really seem that long. Mm-mm. It really didn't seem that long at all.
Well, you can do 45 on the bridge when there's no wind, so...
Yeah, and there wasn't any wind. It was beautiful though.
Yeah, it was a really nice day going up. You could see Mackinac Island. It was nice view.
I wasn't hot. Finally,
no, it was nice.
Finally, I wasn't hot, and the bridge is pretty.
Yes.
So you get to this Mackinac place, and I always thought Mackinac was on Mackinac Island, or Mackinac and the island was on the other side of the bridge.
Right.
So we drove through the town of Mackinac. It was pretty. It was just like you described. Yep. We get to the bridge. We cross the bridge. At the end, we have to pay.
Yeah, we have to pay
That's the
toll.
whole thing. Why everything's pump then pay. Everything. Cross the bridge then pay.
Yeah.
And so
unless you're coming south, you pay then cross the bridge.
That's true. Oh, yeah. That is true. Yeah. That is true. So we get to the lady, we pay her the money, and it's like $1 an axle or something weird like that.
Yeah, it's $2 an axle. We pay $8. Yep.
Yeah, so we paid our $8. They let us go. And now we're on the other side. No. What is that called? The UP? That's officially the UP?
That is officially the UP.
It's officially the UP. We stop at a store. The first thing that I notice is when you live down in the Mitten area, you have stickers of like the Mitten on your windows and stuff like that. And maybe a tiny little shrunken down UP. If that. Maybe not even a UP at all.
Yep.
When you get up to the UP, they have big chunks. It looks like Alaska or Hawaii on there. Yeah. And I'm like, why? What is that? Oh, that's just the UP.
Yeah. People are very proud to be from up there, and they're very proud of that area of the state.
Yes, so that grew, and the Mitten grew smaller on everything.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed how many 906 stickers we saw. That's the entire area code for the UP.
They love that.
Yeah,
they love that.
Yeah.
So we're officially in the UP. I am officially every step of the way from here on out the most north I've ever been.
Yeah.
We won't use that joke over and over, but it's the furthest I've ever been. Right? Every inch of everything that I went to.
Yeah.
And so we get there, and the first thing I notice is every town's inappropriately named.
Yeah.
every town is just weird town. It's this town and that town, and it's like Titicaca's, and like it's really though it's all kinds of
Tittabawassee.
Yeah, it's just crazy named towns, and I think they did it deliberately, or I don't know, they were drunk or something.
They were probably drunk.
Then all of a sudden we drive through this town. It was like Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's all red, and there's like 30 and 40 foot cutouts of Santa Claus. He looks like he was pelvic thrusting. It was really weird. I don't know if it was Home Santa Claus or what. But they really love their Christmas Claus there.
It's Christmas, Michigan. And there's a casino.
Yeah. I didn't realize how many casinos were up there, because every time you get excited and you get on the CV and you're like, Jamie, we can go to the casino, and we could go to the casino and win money. And what would he say?
No,
they're gonna take your money.
Yeah.
It would always be some joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would always be like, you're just gonna give me your money. So we drove by a lot of casinos.
Yeah, we did.
And what was the first place that we went to? The first camp stop?
The very first campground that we stopped at was it was outside of the town of Calumet, Michigan, and it's called McLean State Park.
Is that where all the frat houses were?
So that town that we drove through was Houghton Hancock. That's the home of Michigan Tech.
It was so cool. It was like Animal House. There were these really, really big houses that were there.
Yep.
And they all had like Alpha, Beta, Pi.
Yep. Alpha, Beta, Pi.
Or one was like Lambda,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, and all on the signs that were there. And I thought that was so
Rush.
Cool. And it was Rush.
Yep.
I wanted us, in my mind, to pull over and pledge.
Yeah, right.
I could just see us later running around with candles and like all kinds of crazy stuff, having to drink beer upside down.
It was really interesting to see, because normally when we drive through there this time of year, there's people everywhere, but there was definitely a lot less people. But that's in the city of Houghton. It's up, before we cross that blue bridge.
Oh, yes. Okay,
so
right.
that's Michigan Tech. And it's a big school for up there.
It's a very big school for up there. A very big school. Because these towns are tiny.
Oh, yeah.
They're tiny and they're cute. Oh, my gosh. They're so cute. Each town's like a Hallmark movie story, Murder, She Wrote backdrop. I don't know. So we go across this other bridge, and this bridge does different tricks than the other bridge. This one goes up and down.
It's a lift bridge.
It didn't lift that day for us.
No.
But it was cute. It looked like a little battleship. And it made the town look really cool.
Yeah, and it connects the towns of Houghton and Hancock. That's why people call it Houghton Hancock, but it's actually 2 different cities.
So at this point, we're on our way to the campsite.
Yep.
And I'm only getting little glimpses of these cities. Stuff that we're going to have to come back to after we drop off the trailer and do all the man stuff. So... yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I wrote down all these notes. And one of them says, I didn't fall asleep.
You did not?
So we made it like 8 hours almost in the car.
Yep.
I did not fall asleep.
I think you were very visually stimulated.
There was lots of quiet.
Yes.
There was lots of quiet times of just looking.
Yeah. And I think there was a lot of like where we were, Jamie would come over to the CB and have a story to tell about something we were seeing, or I would tell you a story and then Jamie would come over to the CB and tell the same story, which I thought was great.
Right, and I didn't want to miss any signs,
Right.
Every sign's a giggle sign.
Yep.
Like, oh my gosh, does that sign really say that?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So you did did good, staying awake the whole time.
I was pretty stimulated. So it's evening time by the time we get there. It's like 7
almost
or 8.
dark.
Yeah, we leave at like 11 or so in the morning. Or about 11:28. I wrote it down. It was 11:28 we left.
Yep.
So we were getting there by the time it was dark. So we get this campsite. Let's see. We pull up.
Yep.
Get our pass. Get to the campsite. But like this is the first time we like having a trailer, so we had to like go fill it up with water and.
Yep.
And we get to our campsite and Jamie masterly backs it in.
Like nothing.
Like nothing, right? So here's how the layout goes. And you guys have seen the videos of them camping.
Right.
That mat's there. The same mat you see on TV.
Yeah.
It's there. So the mat's there. And then outside, and Jess and Jamie and the dog sleep inside.
Yep.
And Greg and I sleep in the tents outside.
Yep.
So Greg and I set up our tents.
Which, by the way, because I had a couple of people ask why everybody didn't sleep in the camper. That was an option. Like, that was an option. It was offered.
I was going camping.
Greg likes to sleep in his tent on his cot because he really likes his cot, and you wanted to prove that you could be a camper man.
I guess I just was camping, and you went all this way to give me a cot.
Right? Yeah, we did.
So I set up this blue and yellow tent, and I didn't realize until after we got back. somebody in the comments, because I posted a picture on my Instagram of me in the tent.
Yep.
And someone's all like, Mike and Brett were in that tent, and who else was in the tent? Matt was in the tent.
Yep, Matt was in that tent.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, you didn't tell me like everybody was in that tent?
It was a famous tent.
I should have burned some sage. Or it down. So
dude, I camped in that tent with a cat.
Dang.
We've had it for forever.
That tent's gone through a lot. It's seen some stuff with its eyes.
Yeah, it is.
Right, so
if those walls could speak.
Yes, right. So Greg and Jamie helped me set up a tent.
Yep, the first night they helped you.
And it was fairly like pain-free.
And they helped you set it up because it was so dark out.
Right, and also I didn't know how to set up a tent.
Well, yeah, that too.
Right. So that was fun. No hammering really stuff. Like everything just kind of popped in. These little bendy poles worked and stuff. So I'm like, cool, this is my little...
That tent is so easy to set up.
This is my little house. And Greg was so good. Greg was like, don't put it there. And I'm like, why not? Like, look how nice and flat this is. He's like, that's where all the water is going to run off to.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, nice. So he's like mountain man. Like he knew a lot of stuff.
He's been camping a lot.
Right. So I'm sleeping on a hill. He's like, don't lay your head that way. Like all the blood's going to rush to your head. You should like turn the bed the other way. I'm like, rad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it was just stuff. Like stuff I don't know.
Well, it's stuff I think that you don't think of because you're not used to sleeping outside.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So we got the stuff there. And then instantly so there's always... Like, it's like a video game. Like, on the screen, the firewood level is always there. It's like, how much firewood do we have? What can we do with this firewood? Where do we get the next firewood? Yep. Everybody in the UP is firewood drug dealers.
Oh, yeah.
Every last one of them.
Yep.
And it's $5. It's $5. Maybe if you buy 4 or 5, you'll get $1 off. But it's $5 for
a bundle. It's called a bundle.
Of wood, a gram of wood. it's just a bundle.
Yep.
Some people have these like cubby holes with bundles in them.
Yep.
Some of them have pre-wrap bundles. some of them have honor system bundles with a little money box out there.
Some of them have hardwood. Some of them have different types of wood.
Oh, yeah. They all say they were kiln dried.
Kiln dried, yeah.
Kiln dried.
Yep.
And a lot of them weren't. They were wet. So they're false advertisement.
Yep.
So we burn wood, and it's time to like make food. And I'm like, all right, we're gonna use the pie iron. But the first night we made hot dogs.
The first night we went easy and we made brats. The first night
we made brats,
but we did use a pie iron. What did we make in the pie?
Kraut.
Yeah.
Ooh, that stuff burnt up like hash browns. It was so good, so good. So we cooked a bunch of food. Greg like takes over on that stuff.
Yeah. That's why I love taking Greg camping.
He's like, watch, I can camp.
Yeah, and as soon as he starts doing it, Jamie and I just let him do his thing because he really enjoys doing that. So we just let him do it. He's got the bread buttered and all the things, and he's just going and doing it. So we just kind of just let him do his thing when it comes to camping with Greg.
It was great, and right away the standard, because Jess told me, she's like, you're about ready to see how we really get when we go camping. And I'm like, I don't know what that means, but okay, like I know you well, so it starts out meaning that like our fingers are our utensils.
Oh yeah.
It don't matter. You want to grab a glob of this or mix that? It doesn't matter. Nope. We're buttering bread. I'm sending bread on tables that I've never seen this table before in my life, and now it's holding my bread. I've been running around all day kicking sticks and throwing rocks and stuff like that. So that's all out the door. There's just no.
You're camping.
Right. So we eat food. The food was great. All we were searching for was that campfire flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the brat stuff was good with the kraut, and we would come back to have food later. But then we went rock hunting.
Yeah, you guys decided to take. It was a little bit cold. I think it was like in the 50s that night.
I was happy to be cold.
Yeah, you were happy to be cold.
I was so happy to be cold.
I forgot my pants to wear under my pants, so there was no way I was. Oh, and my gloves. I forgot my gloves.
The important things.
Yep. So there was no way I was gonna go walk the dogs on the beach while you guys were rock hunting. And this happens quite often when we go camping. I'll sit in the camper with the dogs and like play my Switch or just clean up the camper, set up the camp. Especially on the first nights we get there, I have to like put everything away and put everything where it goes. Not that it's not packed, but we kind of just throw everything in there. All the extra stuff just gets thrown in. So things need to be taken out and put on shelves because you can't ride out on a shelf like that because it'll fall off. So I kind of just sit in there and reset up the camper, and you guys decided to take off and go rock hunting. You showed me something that I've never seen before. You're a tiny bit OCD about some stuff. Oh, yeah. Like, you're like, I got to put stuff where it really goes because you all put it away wrong. Yeah. Yes. And I noticed that, and I try to, like, take a quick inventory in the fridge to see, like, okay, do all the sauces go here and all the stuff goes there? But you, at one point halfway through the trip, you like reset everything in there again. Because of the way the camper moves and because of how much stuff we have in there, if it gets stacked in there improperly, the doors will pop open. Yeah, and they do. And we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. So you guys took off rock hunting after you've picked on me for how long about I don't get it. Yeah, so here we go. I'm ready to figure out what this rock hunting game is all about. So I will say I was really excited at that point when you guys all left. Like in my mind, I'm like, okay, he's either gonna come back and think it's the dumbest thing ever, or he's absolutely, because there's like no in between when it comes to rock picking. You either love it and you have you just build this obsession with it, or it's just stupid. And I honestly had no idea which way you were gonna come back. Like I just didn't know. I'm like, I don't. Are they gonna scare the crap out of you on the beach? I don't know. Right. We'd only been there a few hours. We'd only been there a few hours. Right across our view, the most beautiful sunset. Yes. Oh my gosh! Just the amount of open space to see sunset over Lake Superior. Oh yeah. So we took pictures of everything and videos of everything. Yep. So down there is rocks. Yep. And it's like the beaches in California, but with rocks. Right? And in the daytime, these rocks look stupid. It's just like, all right, you stupid rock. But at nighttime, with the correct lights, they come alive. They do. So it's chilly out. And I had this windbreaker on that I got too small. Yeah, we had the right one, and then we bought the wrong one. Right. How did we do that? I had this windbreaker, and then I had some layers of clothes on. I had my beanie on. I had this headlamp. Yep. That made me look like a miner that Jamie got me. Yep. He's like, here, like, wear this. And then I got this black light. So
and I'm sure you guys have seen in the videos of the Uber lights. Is that what they're called?
We call them Ember Lights.
Ember Lights?
Yeah.
So it's like you're walking on the beach and you're turning on this stuff and everything glows on the beach.
Yeah.
Everything glows on the beach. Mostly trash and plastic. If you see it, there was very little trash on the beach. Very little. So I'm walking around with this light and stuff like that. And keep in mind, I have no idea what lives in this area. I have no idea of anything. It looks really super spooky, but at the same time, I'm kind of digging this vibe. I'm like, I'm digging this. It looks really spooky. I don't know what's going on. Everything I hit with the lights, it's creepy. There's down trees because everything's fallen into the ocean. So you can imagine like roots. What do you call them? Roots?
Roots.
You can imagine roots like sticking out of trees, and some of them are falling down, and you can only see a little bit ahead of you. And so I didn't know what to do. So I'm holding my light and I finally see one and it looks like the ground's on fire. I'm like, oh my gosh, like somebody like lit something on fire and it's underneath here. And it's just the coolest, most majestic like glow. I'm like, this is great. Like, I love this. It took me a long time to find one. Now I need to find more than everybody else.
Now it becomes the game.
Now it becomes a game. So I'm on my hands and knees and I'm just digging. And the light's only shining a few, like maybe a foot around in front of you. So you don't know what's really going on.
Yep.
I can see down the beach quite a ways.
Yeah.
One way is Jamie, way down there. Got down there quick. I'm like, ugh. And then the other way, there's Greg. But Greg had a different mission. He was looking for those lights, but he was always breaking rocks open.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was looking for, or if it's just a primary thing or a primordial,
right?
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing, but he was always breaking rocks open to see what was inside him. I'm like, that's kind of cool. So I started finding these Ember Lights, and I'm like, this is great. So they were teaching me how to find them, and at one point, you can walk up the beach till you get to the tall ledge. So you have to like go down the ledge in order to get to the beachy area.
Yes.
And Jamie was up there, and he like pushed down, like I like threw a rock or pushed something down, and to me right away it was like a bobcat or a bear. It was a bear. I went running to Greg's like, duh! And I look back and look up and he's up there smiling. I'm like, no, man, you got me. But for a minute my heart was racing. My heart was just racing so bad. And so I ended up at that night with like 5 of these little ember rocks. But when I'm on the beach, like other things take over my mind. First, there's crawdads, like you see in those craw boils. They look perfect, and some of them and they light up white.
They do.
They light up
the black
white.
light.
Yep. So then I'm like, oh, like, well, what's your day in a life about? So I started following it around for 15, 20 minutes until he made his way to the water, and then the water just thrashed him around. But he was like, later, and I don't know. He went home. I don't know.
Did you see spiders at all?
I saw no. Okay, so on that first night on the beach, I'm on my hands and knees, just digging and smashing. Right. I have a stick and I'm doing stuff. I look over and green eyes look at me. And frog. So there's frogs there and there's crawdads there. So the first night I see nothing else at all. And I'm walking around. I'm so brave. Like I was down by the water.
I like how proud of yourself you are.
Yeah,
I'm so brave.
I was walking around the water. I had no idea what was going down there. I only poked myself once. I was sliding in between trees. I was like Laura Croft. So we get back and we take our lights and we measure our rocks and stuff like that. And I got a handful of I don't know, cute rocks. Like I was pretty happy. And I'm like, I'm only gonna save 3. Well, that proved to not be true later.
Yep.
So it was really neat. The other rocks I didn't care about. One time, like we went rock hunting during the day for like we were looking for
Lake Superior agates.
But those were a lot harder to find. And
yes, they're a lot harder to find. There's more of a. You really have to, 1, you really have to know what you're looking for. 2, you really have to understand the way to look for them. There's not just a cool light that you can find and walk along the beach or dig out rocks and find them. You have to have good eyes. You have to have good eyes. Yes. And you have to, the biggest secret when looking for Lake Superior agates is you have to ignore all the other rocks. So it's like you take a diamond and then you take a whole bunch of other colored gems and you throw the diamond in the middle of the gems.
We got Tuna Melts.
Well, you don't want to like you're looking at a bunch of rainbow colored gems. It's so hard to not look at those, but you have to be able to not look at those and only look for the one. Right. And so it's definitely it's a skill that you have to hone. I'm decent at it when I'm usually the first to find one when we go.
hey, you guys are from here. You have rock eyes. I'm looking at this going, there's a billion rocks here. And like, it was like crazy. It was so many rocks, many rocks. So that day when they were looking for rocks, the agates and stuff like that, I threw rocks in the water.
Yes, you did.
This whole trip, I could have pitched a World Series.
Yeah, you could have.
I threw it anytime we pull over to the side of the road or do anything. I'm throwing rocks. There's nobody to tell me no.
Yep.
Well, not on that part.
Yep.
And you can't get in trouble out there. Nobody gets in trouble out there.
You're allowed to throw rocks in the water.
Yep. So I threw rocks. Anyway, so that was okay. So the first night we get back, and
we're 30 minutes into this.
We're not going to go a day. We don't have to go every day. But the first night's important because all the first stuff happened. So
yes.
We get back and Greg and Jamie are making pies, and I'm like, yes. It's time for pies. So we had pies, and during the pie eating, which was really good, by the way. And the pie irons are fun. You never know, depending on how hot or where you put the fire.
Yep.
It depends on how fast they did. I burnt half your sandwich once.
You did. It was totally amazing, though.
So we make pies, right?
We made apple pie.
We made apple pie.
Yep, that's right. What we made.
And oh my gosh, it was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. We only made the pie irons the one night.
Yeah, that's because we made. We'll get to it. We made a lot of other things other nights. This made me start counting bread.
Yes,
so
it did.
At this point, I had 2 pies, so that's 4 pieces of bread. Plus, we had brats in bread.
Yep.
And so that was 6 pieces of bread.
Yep.
And
did we have sandwiches that day?
We must have, because I counted 8 pieces of bread that day. Yes, we had sandwiches.
Okay.
Yes. So we had 8 pieces of bread that day. And I'm going like, wow. So not only is wood a commodity camping, bread would be proven to be a commodity too. That's up there with how much gas you have in your car.
Yes.
How much wood do you have for fire? And how much bread do we have? Bread is used for everything. It holds the stuff that we put inside of it.
Yep.
It holds other things up off the ground. Speaking of ground, 5-second rule camping, not a problem.
No, not at all.
Not a problem at all. So I thought it was great eating those pie irons and this. Yeah, so that night I had 8 pieces of bread. So it's time to go to bed, and Jess is like, there's showers here. And I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of weird, whatever. Like, okay, fine. And I'm not showering. So
I'm camping. I'm not
showering. So I go to bed, and at this point, I'm left on my own. Is that all we did that night?
You were. Yeah, that was pretty much all we did that night. You were next to Greg's tent, but our campsite had like a bunch of bushes in the middle of it. So you guys were actually behind the bushes, behind our trailer,
up against forest.
So you were a little bit a ways from where the trailer actually was.
Yes.
And you were a little freaked out by that.
You know what? Honestly, I thought it was gonna be like camp, where like I'm gonna be right off the edge of your trailer, and I'm gonna be right there. Greg's like, we're going over here, and I'm like, okay, because the one thing I said, I would just never say no. I'm like, okay, cool, this is where we're camping at. So I get in my camper all by myself. I had some beers. I have a cot, and at this point, I have no idea if the cot's comfortable or not.
Right.
And I have this sleeping bag that makes me look like a glowworm.
Yeah, it kind of does.
It tapers down in the bottom and stuff like that. So.
And thank God you remembered a pillow before we left, because that was the one thing I did forget.
Yes.
Which then I did realize I had an extra one in the camper, so we would have been okay.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I'm there. I'm in my pajamas. I don't know if I'm going to be cold or not. The sleeping bag looks thin as heck. Oh my gosh, that sleeping bag was amazing.
Yeah.
Then I'm hungry a little bit. And I remember that I have a Nutrigrain bar inside my backpack, and like those green Nutrigrain bars.
Yep.
So I'm like, all right, I want to eat this, but if I don't eat all of it, what am I going to do? Because the bears are going to smell it, or the raccoon, or the badger, because the badger don't care, right?
Or the porcupines.
Or the porcupines.
Or a squirrel friend who followed us everywhere.
Right. So I ate most of it, and I look down, and it's a Nutrigrain bar. There's crumbs everywhere.
Right.
And so I'm trying to pick up all the crumbs, and I don't know what to do with them, and I'm like kind of panicking a little bit because I don't want to wake up to Dr. Doolittle's tent.
And even though I told you if you needed anything, you could knock on the door of the camper, just come get us.
I know, but
you were like, no, I'm going to do this.
Jamie.
Can I borrow your vacuum cleaner?
You tuck me in. Jamie. Right. So I just went for it, and I fell asleep, and man, that cot was better than my bed. It was so much more stiffer. I'm like, this is great. Like, I like this cot. I'm never sleeping on the ground again.
When Greg first got the cot that he now uses, because he's used air mattresses and other things, but a couple years ago he bought that cot, and I kid you not, he said the exact same thing the next morning after the first time he used it. He come out of that tent and he goes, that thing is better than my bed. And that, I remember him saying that because he thought it was so comfortable, and I'm like, all right, I'll remember that. So yeah. I knew when you were coming camping, I'm like, if I buy anything, I gotta get you a cot.
Thanks,
there's no way you're sleeping on the ground.
That
we are too old
helped.
for that.
Yes, that really helped.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Keeps you warm.
Yep.
Keeps you off the ground. It gives you, and the biggest thing is like, I think people forget. I mean, yeah, there's people that are like, we're going camping and we're sleeping on the ground and blah 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 blah. I don't care if you're 20. I don't care if you're whatever age you are. You wake up sore no matter what age you are when you sleep on the ground. We learned that a long time ago. It's just not worth it. And you'll have people that'll tell you, that's not real camping if you don't sleep on the ground. Yeah, well, I want to get up the next morning and hike for 10 miles, so I'd like to not be sore.
I stayed in a tent for 7 days.
You did.
And it was pleasant. Last time we all went camping, it felt like it was torture in comparison. That's not camping, that's torture. I laid on the ground, I was cold, I was freezing, I was dirty, I was unhappy. Yeah, so I wake up the next morning. Okay, so I'm quickly on East Coast time. Like, really quickly, I changed to East Coast time. So it's time to crash out. It's like midnight-ish or whatever.
Yeah, it was a little after midnight, first night.
So I go to sleep, and I go to sleep. No problem. I just go to sleep. I wake up like, I don't know, I'm getting up at like 8 in the morning because it's awake and I can hear everybody at the campsite and stuff like that. Nobody's quiet at the campsite.
No.
Nobody's quiet at the campsite.
You gotta get up and move.
Yes. All right, let's jam through my notes here. That was the first night. So it was great. I woke up the next morning and I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah.
I wasn't dirty. My tent wasn't dirty.
Yep.
It's moist there, so like everything's got good grip. You're not slipping.
Yep. I think that when you made it through the first night, because that was another one of my concerns, was getting up the next morning. All I could think about is, again, he was either going to be really uncomfortable, because, I don't think you guys understand, it was cold. Yeah, it was cold.
The second night, it was really cold.
The first night, I think it was down to like 56, and that's cold for camping outside in a tent for what was really your first experience. I mean, yeah, you camped outside in a tent on the ground, but this was like... People don't camp outside in tents when it's that cold. A lot of people won't do it, and you did it. And then the next night, it got colder.
My note said it was so cold.
Yeah, the next night, it was the coldest it got through the whole trip, and you still stayed in that tent. And again, guys, I told Dan at any point in time that if he got too cold, he could always come sleep in the camper. We had space.
You did.
But you did it. You slept in that tent, and the coldest it got was 41 degrees.
Yeah.
That's cold.
It was cold that night. But like... The sleeping bag really helped.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So at that point, I learned to take, like, I had, like, warmer clothes hiding in my sleeping bag.
Right.
So I could change in my sleeping bag and I didn't have to get out of my sleeping bag.
Right.
The bathrooms were pretty close by, so that was kind of good.
Yep.
That was neat. Okay, so that was it for the first night. So what I have here for the next day is camping bathrooms were so nice. These bathrooms were amazingly nice. Yeah. They were so nice. They're nicer than the Walmart bathrooms. Pie, iron, egg breakfast, of course. So we get in the car and we leave.
Yep.
We gotta get the morning routine is get up, walk the dogs.
Get up, walk the dogs.
Oh no, wait, bring the dogs to Dan's tent.
Yeah.
One time I had my tent like unzipped halfway. They just come bludging in. Hey, what's up? I'm like, hey guys. So walk the dogs. We hop in the car and we go off on our first adventure.
Yeah.
And I didn't ask anything, or I'm just like, we're going for it.
Yep.
At this point, I don't know where I'm at. I'm at the top of the UP.
Yes, you were.
I'm at the top of the world to me.
Yep.
Everybody's pretty nice. Everybody looks the same. We get to this monk jelly place.
Yeah. So we went to a place called the Jam Pot.
Okay. Real quick. Dan, what is the jam pot? I don't know. Is it a waterfall? Is it a mountain shaped like inverted like a pot? Is it food? Is it a breakfast place? I don't know what we're going through. We're almost to the jam pot and I don't want to ask.
Right? And I didn't tell you purposely. There was like, I'm not going to explain what everything is. You'll learn when you get there.
No clue what the jam pot is.
Yep.
All right, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so we go to the jam pot, which is there's a monastery up there where these monks live all year long, and they make jams and jellies and rum brownies and bread and all kinds of amazing goodness. And it's everybody stops there. Everybody that goes through the Keweenaw Peninsula, you have to go to the jam pot if you're there. And we went in there and it smelled ungodly amazing, and we bought all the things. But I couldn't, you can't have a rum brownie if you're driving, and I was driving that day, so I couldn't eat one because holy cow.
It was good.
Yeah.
I ate it. It was good.
Yeah, it tastes like
good.
rum.
I was in there with the GoPro, shy to record because it's a monk's place. Is this a place of like seriousness and worship and stuff? You know, and they're dressed monkish. Like they have an outfit that they have, and the guy's working the cash register. He had jokes.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. It's the monk place, but like he knows his touristy stuff. He's not like, don't be disrespectful in my shop. He was just normal. Yeah. So I got some jellies and some brownies and some caramels. And so then we started hitting some waterfalls.
Yeah, we went right from there so right before the Jam Pot, when you're coming up that road, there's a little waterfall called Jacob's Falls. And it looks like a little waterfall from the road because you can only see from the road, maybe like 15 feet of it is seen clearly. But what you can't really see unless you go up to the top of it is it's a huge waterfall that's cascading down the side of that quote unquote mountain. Mm-hmm. So we took the dogs over there. I think I got a couple pictures of them in front of the waterfall. And then we put the dogs in the car and Jamie said he would sit with them. And you guys took off up the waterfall when I was...
Greg and I were all over the place.
You guys took off, and then I loaded the dogs, and I looked at Jamie, and I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go up the side of the waterfall. First thing he says, don't fall. Okay, all right, I won't fall. If they can make it, I can make it. And then I started going up there, and you guys were already up there, and my first thought was... how am I going to get back down?
Yes.
Because
that was a lot of the thoughts.
My legs are short. You guys were leaping, and I'm like, this is not a good idea.
Yes. Yeah, Greg and I were jumping around.
Yeah, you were. I got a really good picture of you standing on top of the waterfall.
Yeah, it was fun. And then I found this stick.
Yes, you did.
Because one of the things I want is, like, when I get there, I need a stick. So I find the stick, and it looks cool. It looks like splinters came from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I'm all stoked on it. And I asked if I could bring it in the car. I was like, can I bring it? And you're like, yeah. So then I got another stick and I was wiping all the crud off of it. And I was sanding it all down in between waterfalls. Yep. And so we made it to another... some of these waterfalls are great because you never know if they're right off the side of the road.
Right. Some of them are.
Literally right off the side of the road. And there's like one or two people there, taking pictures, whatever. Everybody's super nice. And then some of them you park and you hike these like cutout trails. Yeah. Like when I say cutout trails, I mean like really nice cutout trails with shady trees and really nice weather. And you just go around the corner to these huge, amazing waterfalls. Each one had a different like personality. Yes. Yeah. Yes. And so, sadly enough, I took my stick, and I'm swinging around my stick the whole time. How did you not take the stick away from me?
You weren't hurting nobody.
That's true. I was swinging around.
You followed all the rules that didn't have to be spoken to you about the stick. You didn't swing it at anybody. You didn't really have it near the dogs, so they couldn't grab it from you because Kira would have chewed on it. Uh-huh. Like You were just playing with a stick. You kept your distance from other people when you were swinging the stick, and when other people came up the trail, you used it as a walking stick. There was no reason to take it away from you. I didn't even have to tell you any of those things. You just did them. So
well, thanks for telling me the most important rule is if you smack it on an object harder than the tree, it's gonna bust into bits.
It's a stick.
And it blew up in half, and oh my gosh, I was so sad.
You were so sad.
I was so sad. I had worked on that stick for hours throughout that day.
Yeah, you did.
For hours. Yeah. Yes. So I was super sad I lost my stick. But these waterfalls were just so pretty. I don't even know the names of them all. We went to a lot of waterfalls.
Well, I'll put the names of them in like videos and stuff like that. But...
yeah, which we have lots of.
Yeah, because we went... what did we do? We went from the Jam Pot to a waterfall. Mine. We went to the mine. We did Brockway Mountain Drive. Was that how we did it? Did we do it in that order? Oh, we went to the Jam Pot, then we went to the waterfall.
Jam Pot first.
Then we went to the mine. That was because we backtracked that way.
We got to tell them the mine story real quick.
Yeah. We went to a place called the Delaware Mine.
It was a big mine. It was a real mine.
It was a real mine. So it was a mine in like the early, I already forgot if it was like in the 1900s. And it's 9 levels deep, but the bottom 8 levels are all filled with water. And the greatest thing about the Delaware Mine, if you're ever in the Keweenaw Peninsula of Michigan and you have pets, they let you bring your dogs inside the mine. Yeah. Which I just think is the coolest thing. It's a self-guided tour.
No adults.
Yeah, right. There's other mines up there that are fully guided where you have a guide that walks you through and you stop at places and they tell you stories, which is cool. But I really like the fact that you just go down the steps and you watch a 5-minute video that tells you all the things you can't do. And then you get a hard hat. You go down into all these steps And then you go through this mine, and I just think the greatest thing about it is the fact that you can go at your own pace. They have signs that explain what things are, and you can read them or not, and you just go at your own pace. And I really like that more than those guided tours.
Yeah, I agree. So I get into this building, right? And there's like a bunch of hard hats on the wall. Yep. And he's like, you're going to watch this like 7-minute video on the mine. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be safety. That was a spoiler video. Oh my gosh. I had to cover. Remember, I closed my eyes and put my fingers in my ears because they were showing pictures of the mine. They were talking about the things in there. And I no. Let me discover this for myself. Right. So I had my the guy must have thought I was like
crazy
because I was hiding from this informational video.
Yep.
So we get our hard hats on and we go down these sketchy steps.
Yeah,
100 steps?
Yeah, it's 100 steps down.
So we go 100 steps down into this hole, and what it reminds me of is the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland.
Yep.
Had that same smell, had that same look.
Temperature dropped,
yeah. It was cold down there.
Yeah.
We were walking for a long time, and I mean, it's huge and cavernous.
Yeah.
Some parts are sketchy. Oh my gosh, let me tell you. They were being held up by trees. Like there was tree stumps that somebody slid down in there to hold those things. I didn't have to sign a liability paper.
Nope.
Because if we crashed down, there's just no finding me.
Nope.
It was cool. Some of it had drippy water.
Yeah.
When you turn on lights, you would see some of the copper deposits.
Yep.
No. What's a penny?
The veins.
Is it penny copper?
Copper, yeah.
Yeah, copper deposits.
Yeah, it was a copper mine.
Some of them had Statue of Liberty color all over them because it was like oxidized and stuff.
Yep.
And it was cool. It was cool. There's lots of places that are dangerous. Like there's this hole in there, and then inside there it opens up to this huge cavern with water. And we're all just like sticking our heads through it, and Greg's like climbing through it to try to get these pictures. Greg spent the whole time taking 360 pictures.
Yes, he did.
He took 100 360 pictures.
Yeah, he did.
Some points I would just stop moving because I didn't want to like mess up the stitching on it. But Greg would go out to the waterfall and just start taking. So he's like taking pictures and stuff, and I'm like, he could slip and fall in.
Well, he'd get it on camera.
We got to the end and there was this hole, and I was like, Jamie, if I crawl over here, like, what do you think's down this hole? He's like, I don't know. Like, you want to go see? Like, I could. There was nobody to stop me.
Yeah. Yep.
There was nobody to stop me. So I thought the mine was really neat. It was fresh air in there.
Yes. Yeah. Well, they pump air down in there, so that's why there's air.
It was enjoyable.
Yeah, and it's really neat because then when you come out of the mine, there's all of the old, well, not all of them, but there's a bunch of the old buildings from when it was a mining village, because there used to be a whole village there. There used to be a whole little tiny town there, a community of people that lived there and worked there, and they had, a bar and a hotel.
Like stone buildings.
Yep.
Real quick, there was lots of mold down in there.
Yeah. Well, it's wet down in there.
Yeah. It was like lots of like white. It looked like cotton candy.
Yeah, the white mold. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't eat the mold, Dan.
Yeah, don't eat the mold.
Don't touch the white stuff.
No.
Don't touch the white stuff. Real quick, that's something that I learned real fast is we were going on our first trail, and Jess looks at me, Dan, stay on the trail. Don't eat the mushrooms. I'm like, okay, fine. And then a couple minutes later, I hear it again, and I'm like, you just told me that. And I look over, and she's talking to the dogs. I'm like, oh my gosh, were you giving me instructions like the dogs the whole time? One time you're like, stay right there. And then now that I think about it, and I stayed. And then one other time you're like, Dan, come here. And I go trotting over there. Oh my gosh. But the mushroom thing, it was like, oh my gosh, you give me the same warnings you give your dogs.
The only difference is you understood what I was saying and they don't.
Right. No, they're sniffing everything. The chipmunks, oh my gosh.
We got tortured.
They mess with you.
Yeah,
they were my favorite part. They were Ewoks. One time I think Jess got too close and it ran up the tree and it dropped 2 different
pine cones.
Yep. Tried to drop up on you.
Yeah, it did.
Just so you'd go away.
Yep.
Really, it did though, right?
Yeah, that's what they do.
It was smart.
They'll drop acorns out of the trees back here. The squirrels will pick them off and they will drop them on the dogs.
Right. I thought that was amazing. I'm like, dude, you're the best. You're the best. So like Jess said, afterwards, there's all these buildings that are out there and all these old machines and how the machines worked in the mines and stuff back in the day. And then all of a sudden, it's just a picnic table.
Yeah.
Time to eat some lunch.
Yeah.
So we made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
On bread.
Yes. Which started my next bread count. I think this night I showed 8 pieces of bread for that day. Okay.
We also went to Cliff Mine that day. And we didn't actually go to the mine, but we went to the ruins of the mine and we drove through a river. Uh-huh. That was that day as well. And then we went to...
top of the world. Devil's Bathtub.
We went to Devil's Wash Tub.
Bathtub. I have Devil's Bathtub on my notes. That was cool.
That was cool. We went to another little mining village. Was it Central Mine, I think it was, where they're actually working on renovating all of the houses and buildings there to make it look like what it looked like. That was where we walked up, and it was that the powder house.
Yes.
Where we walked into the woods, and there was the powder house, and there was the hill that you could see forever, and it was like, look, people just have these like stick-built, barely standing up houses on these giant hills back here. The Keweenaw, for those of you that don't know, is home to a lot of mining. They call it copper country because that's what they used to mine up there, was copper. There's a couple iron mines up there as well, but it's mainly copper. So there's a lot of historic ghost towns and abandoned mining villages and abandoned areas. Like we barely scratched the surface to any of that.
It is. One thing I didn't learn is everything is centered around copper back in the day.
Yeah.
Like everything was copper.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we barely scratched. I could tell we barely scratched anything.
Oh yeah. There were things that we like when we crossed that river, we could have got out and hiked a trail that would have taken us way up into the woods, and you could have seen the abandoned mine shafts. And again, there's stuff left in the woods that's still just there.
Yes.
But
they love to leave their stuff in the woods.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
It's just there.
And at this point, I'm not scared because I haven't seen anything. There's been nothing, no snakes, no bears, nothing at all. Nothing at all. So I'm fearless, but the only thing that keeps me on the trails is I don't want to get poison ivy stuff.
Yeah.
But I pretty much just followed Greg.
Yeah.
Greg was running around doing stuff and going into places that had sketchy, like, footing and stuff like that. Right. And I was just right there with him.
Yeah. Oh, when we were at the one village where we went to the powder house, what did we pick off the tree?
Oh yeah, we got plums.
Yep.
We got plums one day, and I was so like nervous
to eat them.
To eat them, Greg went and got plums off this tree. It was just out there, like it was free.
Yeah.
It was just on this tree, on one of the trail, like not even on the trail, just wherever I don't know where we were at. And he just comes back with them, and I ate it, and it was delicious.
How many apples did you eat randomly off the side of the road during the trip?
I ate 2. It was great. Jamie and Greg went and picked apples off of just the side of the road. Yep. We were there taking a sign of Mohawk Road or something like that.
Yeah, we were.
And there was just apples, and I ate the apples, and the apple was good. I was scared, like, and I kept asking, like, where are these apples? Like, you don't know where these apples have been or anything. Like,
yeah, they're on the tree.
Yeah, right? They're in your mouth now. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure I asked a bunch of city questions.
You did. It was funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So I found another stick. You know, that one lasted longer, but everything was done with the stick.
That stick came back with you. It's in the camper.
It is, huh?
Yep.
I used it to push rocks that night.
You did.
I used it to. So, hold on, I want to get ahead of myself. So let me see. We went to Devil Bathtub. That was really cool. Dance point. I stayed on the beach and pushed rocks. That was that second time we went rock hunting. Oh, we went to this rock store. So we showed up to this rock store, and
It's called Prospector's Paradise.
And it was this old couple.
Yep.
And they had their living room in the middle of this rock store. And this rock store was massive. So I go into this rock store, and I don't like the rock store. I'm like, I don't like this. Like, what? I want to find the rocks. I don't want to go buy the rocks. Like, I only want to chase after these rocks, and then that's it.
Right.
And then, I don't know. I'm like, what is this? And Greg's like, that's a piece of concrete from the curb. Put that down. And I'm like, I don't know what's a rock. So I walk on the side, and then these 2 people are negotiating rock prices, and then some dude bought a rock for like $200.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's ridiculous. So we were in a rock store, and I don't know what I was looking at. I know, it was just a bunch of rocks. I just didn't want to knock anything over because it looked expensive.
Yeah, it's a really neat place to go. And they have more than just Michigan rocks there. That's kind of the thing. Like,
yeah, it was a
real rock shop.
Store. Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
It was huge. They had a pretty good little gig there. And of course I look like I'm straight up out of town.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I'm straight up out of town looking. I have red hair.
I mean, to be fair, I have tie-dye shoes, a multicolored hoodie, and purple hair. I'm pretty sure most people probably thought I wasn't from around here either. I thought we were probably going
to go to a Grateful Dead concert.
What did Jamie call us? The Troll Dolls?
The Troll Dolls, that's right.
He did.
That was good. Yeah, so I look like that in there.
Yeah.
And so anyway, the rock store was fun, but she's like, make sure you get your free rock on the way out. Yeah. I'm like, you just want me to clear out your trash. What are you talking about, free rock? So I did not take a free rock
No, I took one.
I did not. Yes, I did not take a free rock at all. What else we did? I got a walking stick. We cooked tuna sandwiches.
Oh, the best tuna melts ever.
We did. Here's where I went wrong on the tuna melts. So the tuna melts consist of bread, cheese, hot mustard, spicy Southwest mustard,
yep.
tuna,
yep,
which has like mayonnaise and like
pickles
and stuff in it, and the other slice of bread. So you cook them on the grill or on the fire, and then when you're done, you pop them on a plate, and then you put the pie irons in this little strip of beach that's around the edge of the fire.
Yeah.
And then I made another one, and I didn't clean it out.
Yeah.
And so they get sand in them.
Yeah.
And I ate a sand sandwich.
You had a little bit of grit in your teeth.
It was so loud. I powered through it, but I did that. I guess that's good for me. More iron.
You learned.
I learned.
You did.
Yes.
That's one way to learn.
I was like, maybe there's a Uper light in me. I was getting so into the rock. Like, I really couldn't wait for nighttime to go rock hunting again. So that next night, we went rock hunting. So much so that, like, one of the days we were walking, and I had a rock in my shoe. And I'm like, please let it be something good. Please, is this an agate or is this is this a glow light? Please. We went rock hunting again, and Jamie scared me. Okay, we talked about that. He got me a couple times.
Yeah.
I think one time there was like something on the ground, and he like threw it down and it landed on my head, and I went running. At least once a night of like the 4 nights that we went rock hunting, they would get too far away from me.
Yeah.
And like one night I was on the beach and I heard bushes moving, like an animal was coming out of a bush. There are no bushes on the beach. So I would run until I got closer to them, and then I would stop running and just look around like I was just sniffing.
You're like,
just sniffing.
Nobody saw me run down the beach. I'm good.
Yep. So we spent a lot of miles. Our Fitbits and our watches were like 5-6 miles. It was a lot of walking. Those first 2 days we hit it hard. Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah.
We really hit it hard.
Yeah, we did.
We went everywhere. We were full energy. Greg and I were running everywhere.
Yeah, it was nuts.
It was nuts. Yeah, it was nuts. Let's see if I had anything else for Wednesday. Oh man, and my bread count's at 8. Okay, so that night it was cold. That was that 40-degree night.
That was the 40-degree night.
It was cold. I was cold, but I had like the blankets and stuff. Oh, and I had a space heater, and I really did not want to turn on the space heater at all, but I didn't know what to expect, so I kicked it on once to kind of warm it up there. Yeah. And then that was it, and I didn't use it the rest of the trip.
I mean, to be fair, we used the furnace in our camper.
I didn't know.
I probably used the furnace in my camper more than you used that space heater.
You know what it was? It's that sleeping bag. It just kept me warm the whole night.
And see, I don't sleep with a sleeping bag in the camper. I have a regular set of bed sheets and stuff like that in there. And the furnace in the camper for me just takes the chill out of the camper. Right. That's all it's for. Like, you take the chill out and then you shut it off and you're good.
Yes. So we make a fire the next morning. It's really foggy and gross.
Yeah,
I never really had to make a fire myself. Oh, no, I did the one night I did. The one night with the pizza box after we had pizza under the fire. Yep. It was easy, guys. You just take a bunch of wood and you just take a gender reveal kit and then poof, fire.
Ta-da!
Yes. Ta-da, fire. Okay, how long have we been podcasting for?
Like an hour.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll hurry this up.
You don't have to rush.
Foggy morning, it was cold.
Now you're just reading your notes. Nobody wants to just listen to you read your notes.
We went to Cloud Lake.
The Cloud Lake?
Lake in the sky. Cloud Lake in the sky?
So the next morning we got up and it was foggy and we decided to take off from there and we went to... So we were staying in the Keweenaw Peninsula. We were close to the Porcupine Mountains. So we decided the next day... The plan was get up, drive for an hour and a half from our campsite, and go to the Porcupine Mountains, which was one of the requests Greg made, was he wanted to go to Lake of the Clouds because he hadn't been there for so long. So we pretty much got up, not super early, got up, did all the things, and we headed over to Lake of the Clouds in the Porcupine Mountains. And it was the first time in years. I literally can go through my pictures. I cannot remember the last time I have seen Lake of the Clouds in sunshine. When we went last year, it was completely overcast. The past few times Jamie and I have been there, it was just overcast and drab. Still beautiful, still worth going up there to see. Yeah. But I was so freaking excited. I don't remember how many times I said it as we were driving there was, look, it's still sunny. Look, it's still sunny. Look, it's still sunny.
Up until then, we've had perfect weather.
Yeah.
No wind on the bridge.
Yeah.
Everything was perfect till then.
Yeah, so we went to Lake of the Clouds, and we spent quite a bit of time there. That was where I saw that other husky, and I got all excited because there was finally another husky.
And so did they.
Yeah. Yeah, that was where we broke off the end of your stick in between two sticks.
Yes, because that's where I picked up the second stick.
That's where you picked. Yep, that's where you got it.
Until then, I was bummed.
And they taught you how to put a stick between two trees and break off the end of a stick.
Yes.
How to score it and snap it.
Yeah. So we found me a new stick, which I was bummed until then.
Yep.
And then one time Jamie was watch this, and he took his knife out.
That was after we left Lake of the Clouds. We headed to the None Such Mine village, which was that abandoned village that we hiked way out in the woods.
Oh,
and we went down the hill.
Hike?
Yep.
That was fun.
And then that was on the way out of there. So there was a little waterfall back there, an old abandoned mining village back there, and on the way out, you can go ahead and tell them what Jamie did.
Yes. Okay, so after we left beautiful Lake of the Clouds, you said it was?
Yep.
Real quick, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
It looked so far down on stuff, and you were on this rock, and you really felt like you were on the top of the world.
Yep.
Jamie showed me that's where clouds are made.
It is where clouds are made. I have videos of clouds being formed there.
That's really cool. But it was perfect out there. There was no clouds. So Jamie grabs this piece of this tree that was on the ground. It looked like it had just fallen on the ground. He grabs his knife out and he cuts the ends off. He whacks off every bush. He skins it, cuts it to size while we're walking down this trail, and he's got a complete done walking stick in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
He took it apart like a mechanically separated chicken. It was just bam, 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 bam. I'm like, you guys have such different eyes. You guys see different things. I'm looking for dead stuff on the ground to make this stick with.
Right.
And Jamie's like, watch this. I'll just take this thing that's here and big and I'll cut a piece off of it and make it small. And I thought that was impressive. Yeah. That was really impressive. That and Greg convincing me to drink lake water.
Yeah, with the life straw.
The lake
Waterfall water.
Waterfall water.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because that was where we did that. We were at that None Such waterfall.
The water is the best ever.
Yep.
Same with the waterfall. Same with the water at the campgrounds.
Yeah.
So good.
Because groundwater, it's well water.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, so Jamie impressed me with that. So we did that 3/4 mile walk. Yeah. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Still, I saw a mushroom and you told me not to touch it.
Yes.
And Greg's got this thing on his camera where you take a picture of it and it Googles it for you and stuff like that. He's like, that's one of the ones that will die.
Yeah, don't eat that.
Yes, I made this one. There was a lot of times where I try to make long videos, one shot videos of what you're doing.
Right.
And I think I did a 10-minute video of us doing that whole walk to the falls.
Did you really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, just walking around doing stuff. I was talking about stuff, so I do have that. That was really cool, and that was our first lawn. Well, you call it lawn hike. I imagine me doing 3, 4, 5 miles of hiking. No, everything was pleasant. Yeah, that's my word. It was pleasant. Yeah, it was an easy walk. It was all under trees. There was no sun. It was marked trails where they have Well, that one we went on was just kind of like a road. Yeah, that's an old little road that goes back in there. Most of them have wood and bridges and stuff like that. Yeah, they're very well maintained. We left None Such Mine and we headed into the Porcupine State Park campground. Was, I believe, where we went from there, where we hiked back to Jamie's favorite waterfall. That one was neat. We were on that sway bridge. Yep, and Kira did the sway bridge. I was so proud of her. And that waterfall looked almost as good as it did from the very first time we ever saw it, and it became his favorite waterfall. And the name of it is Unnamed Falls. I love it. Just like the unnamed gas station. It's Unnamed Falls. Yes, that one looked really cool with all the cutouts in it. Yeah, so we stayed there for a little bit and got quite a bit of pictures because I really want to take one of those and blow one up to hang in the house. So I made sure to get quite a few pictures of that waterfall. And then did we go to that one first or did we go to that one last? We went there during the middle because after that we went around because we were able to walk out on half of the waterfall that wasn't underwater. Yep. Yeah. Where everybody saw the otters but me. Yeah. Yep. So we went to there's 3 different waterfalls, including Unnamed Falls, right there at the edge of the Porcupine Mountains, and I'm never gonna remember them. Manabeesho, Namwadamwadahata, and some other one, Manadio, and I can never pronounce any of them right. But those are the other 3, and we hiked back to them, and we walked right out onto that one and stood underneath the water. And I think you guys got more water out from that waterfall. I think he filled his life straw again from that waterfall. Yeah. So. Yeah, I thought that was neat. I wanted one of those after that. I'm like, I just want to do that. That looks fun.
We should have bought you one of those before we left.
So this is why this next story is important. So it was time to eat some food. And we
As
were
it
going to make
always
more
is.
sandwiches. And Jess does a good job. Like, you were very well prepared. You were very well prepared.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So there's a little ice chest with, like, stuff to make sandwiches. We pull over to make our sandwiches. Jamie's sitting at a picnic table, straddling one of the benches, and you're kind of standing a few feet away eating a sandwich.
Yep.
And you have the dogs. I reach with my right hand in between you guys to get some chips out of the bag, the delicious salt and vinegar chips.
Yep, the most amazing salt and vinegar chips.
And so then my other hand is out in the air holding my sandwich back for like weight leverage.
Yep.
And then before I knew it, there was nothing in my hand anymore. Can you guess real quick? What dog do you think ate my sandwich? Who's trying to pretend to be cute on her back underneath
I know, look
the
at
table
her.
down here. So Memphis eats my sandwich out of my hand.
Right out of your hand.
Right out of my hand. And like nothing. Like my fingers were still apart. So I was a little
that is the
sad.
reason why I don't buy grape jelly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because dogs can't have grapes.
Oh, and it was gone in a microsecond. I took my eyes off the prize.
Yep.
And then I made another half a sandwich.
Yeah, you did.
So that's why my bread count for that day was on an odd number.
Yeah.
Yes. So I didn't care, but at the same time, like, that's it. You ate my sandwich.
Yep.
So I held it against her the whole time.
Yeah, you did.
I held it against her
Every
the
time
whole
she'd
rest
look
of
at
the
you,
time.
were like, no way, you ate my sandwich.
You get the smaller bites now. You ate my sandwich. Yes. So that's what it was. I mean, it sounds repetitive, but it was waterfall after waterfall after waterfall, and each one of them was just so neat.
Yeah.
Sometimes there were some people there.
Sometimes there was people. Sometimes the ones that are really easy to get to usually have more people, and the ones that are a little bit harder to get to don't usually have as many people. We missed Black River Scenic Byway Waterfalls. I really would have liked to take you back there, but it was so much further of a drive, and we would have been back so late. We decided, you're just going to have to come back, and we're going to have to do another trip.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So at this point, still no animals.
Still no animals.
Still
Besides
no
chipmunks and
animals.
ground squirrels.
Yes,
And that's about it.
And I'm like,
Eagles.
I got this. Like, this is great. We ran around for 2 days on, like, we were all hyped.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that night, there's neighbors across the way, and it was late at night.
Yeah.
And there was, like, it's... The way they talk is so stereotypical of, like, the Mackenzie brothers or something like that. And they were very much going, oh, yeah, and oh, yay. And,
it's a Yooper accent.
Oh, wow.
It's like a combination of Canadian, like the actual Canadian, the real Canadian accent. And if you take that, and then you take that Wisconsin and Minnesota, and you mash it all together.
It was something, but it was for real.
They were definitely natives.
Yes, and they're across from us around their fire, like we are.
Yep.
And there's 8 or 10 of them, and
There's
they're
a lot.
loud.
They'd been drinking.
They're loud, but it was
Yoopers
like
can drink.
I think maybe it was even Friday night that night or something like
Yeah.
that. Like it was, I think it was like Friday night, and then so like 2 campsites down from us, there's a family or I don't know, there's a couple people that
There's
were
a
in
husband and
tent,
wife.
in a tent.
Yep.
And at one point, you spotted it.
Yeah. So quiet hours are 10 o'clock at the state campgrounds. At 10 o'clock, you're supposed to tone it down, be a little bit more quiet, have a little bit of respect for the other people. Downstate here, south of the bridge, at 10 o'clock, they will come around and like shut you down if you are making noise. Up there, 10 o'clock hits, and I think people up there just live a little bit easier life. Nobody cares. And it's not that nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's Friday night,
Nobody
Saturday
cares.
night.
Nobody
We're
cares.
camping. We're having a good time.
These people were there with their buddies. They had 4 or 5
yeah.
campsites. They had money trailers. They
Yeah,
had
they
nice
did.
trailers, and they were sitting around there. And then I think you said something because we're standing there like, oh, there he goes. No,
Yeah.
no. There was was it a shut up or an FU? Or...
It was a shut up.
Shut
the F up.
Shut
Yep.
the F up.
Yep.
Right. And
Yeah,
we're
out
like,
of nowhere.
dang, it was a big manly
Yeah,
voice.
and then those guys started yelling back.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And then later the wife comes out
Yep.
with her arms crossed and she goes scooting across that dark ass
Yep.
little like alleyway, not like the dirt roadway.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, and
Here
they
it
were
goes.
exchanging words, and that's when I learned he's like, we're the locals.
Yeah.
And that's when I learned the hierarchy.
Oh, yeah.
And let me break it down for you. So there's Cityites,
Yep.
which is I guess what I am, from the city, and there's
You're
the
not
people
a Cityite, though.
downstate.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider you a Cityite because you're not rude. You're not one of those people that comes up there and just thinks you can own the place because you just can. Like, the Cityites are the people that come up there and they are just, they're mean to everybody for no reason. They act just like they do in the city. You know, they're the people that, you know, go into a grocery store and they're the Karens, I guess you could say.
Right.
Like, you know, to compare it. They're the people that think everything revolves around them and everything should be, you know, everything should be a certain way and blah, 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 blah. I wouldn't necessarily call you a Cityite.
So, yeah, okay. Well, maybe. But I live in the city.
That is true.
Then there's the downstaters.
Which you would be, even though you don't live here, I would consider you more of a downstater than a Cityite.
So then above that is where you live, and you're
We're Flatlanders.
Flatlanders.
Yeah.
And then above you're not even the senior in high school. I thought you were up far enough that you were the UP people, but you're not.
No.
Then there's the Yoopers.
Yoopers.
Those are the ones that hold the highest rank.
Yes.
Yes.
Those are the locals.
So it was crazy, and he made perfect sense. We're the locals. Like, this is our area.
Yep.
Yes, and they were loud, but like they were clearly just having a good time.
And he wasn't wrong. Like, you're in their territory.
Yeah,
You come up here to enjoy their space and where they live. Like, so you have to, I don't know, and I think Michigan is a funny state because we do kind of have that, and you know, you have to respect those people. They let us come up there. They tried to secede. They didn't want to be their own state. They didn't want the bridge.
Right. Okay, right.
I mean, realistically, you know, that's how it is.
Yep. So we were like,
but
dang.
they did make sure to let that lady know.
Let that lady know.
We're the locals. Because what'd she say? Well, I'm going to call the police. We're the locals. And that was his response.
He wasn't rude. He didn't say anything mean.
And when she said, we're going to call the police, and he said, we're the locals, I immediately knew what that meant to me. Go ahead and call the cops, because Joe over there knows Tom at the police station, and they're not going to get in any trouble.
Yeah. So we didn't want to go to bed because we were just waiting to see what happens next, because then they turned it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Then they started throwing around the beanbags.
Yep.
And it was all thump. I remember laying in my tent that night just giggling because they were
that
loud.
That was at Baraga State Park.
Yes.
That was at the next campground. Yep. That's where those guys were.
Yes. That was so good. That was so good.
Yeah, we stayed up late waiting to see what would happen.
Yes.
We were like, what's going to happen?
We were giggly.
Oh my gosh.
And then
we tried to walk by them because we wanted to see what was going on. And what did they say, Dan?
Oh, you're walking too loud. Oh, yeah, you're walking too loud. And we were just giggling.
Yeah.
We were giggling like schoolgirls.
Yeah,
we were walking
they were
by.
making jokes as we walked by.
Yes.
It was great.
It was good. So, needless to say, we've had a lot of fun. And then I discovered the shower finally.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot of days with no shower.
I think 4.
4 days. You count, 4 days
Yeah.
with no shower. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do about the shower thing. So then, because I thought it was gonna be one big area with just like half wall cutoffs, and I don't care, but like, I just don't want to deal with it. And it was a cold walk back.
Yep.
And then these are like the mini spas.
Yeah.
Like, you lock yourself in this room, and there's a whole like foyer area to put all your stuff, and it's all tile, and there's no rules in there.
Nope.
There's no rules in there. You turn on the water, you have as much hot water as you want. Water splashes everywhere. It doesn't matter. They're big.
Yeah.
They're big.
Clean.
They're clean.
Yeah.
I stayed in there way too long. I was like, I don't want to leave the hot room and walk back to my cold tent yet.
Right.
Yep. So I conducted business in there. So that was one of my favorite things, is discovering.
And then you took a shower
campsite.
Like every day after that.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, because I'm like, well, I can warm up for free. Heck yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Yep.
Yeah, but for the first 4 days, there's no camping, and then I gave up shaving.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't know what to do, so I just didn't shave, and now I look
like a camper.
Yeah. Right? Would you say when we left today to come back? Well, I forgot what you say.
I said you looked like I said, well, you look like a camper. I said, well, actually, we're not camping anymore, so now you look homeless.
Yes, it's a fine line. It's a fine line between a leisurely activity and this is my life now. Yep. Let's see if I had anything else. Dog owners suck. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we did so much. We stayed in Baraga. It rained all day the one day, and we still made a really fun day out of it. Like, even though it rained, we played games in the camper, and we got a break in the weather during the middle of the day. So we built a fire in the rain out of wet wood. Still managed to get the fire going. Still managed to have good food. That was the day we pretty much stayed at the campsite.
Yeah,
all
that
day.
was like our rest day.
Yeah, because we left from McLean State Park
Friday
morning, and we drove to, there was a Walmart. We drove to the Walmart in Houghton, And we dropped off my Jeep in the camper, and we all loaded up in Jamie's Jeep. Because otherwise we had another, 45-minute drive. And we drove to a little town out there. And then we found that abandoned building and the abandoned dredge.
The abandoned building was so cool.
That, I took so many pictures of it.
I made a video of the abandoned building.
Oh, God, I could have ran around there for forever. It was so cool. We did all that, and then we went to Baraga. We didn't really do much from Baraga because we got there Friday. We pretty much did campsite stuff. It rained Saturday, and we left Baraga Sunday. And we went from Baraga, we drove back through Marquette, which is a really pretty town. We didn't even get to take you anywhere in Marquette because it was so packed. And we went from there and we went all the way to my other favorite campground, which is Muscalonge Lake State Park.
That was the third campground, huh?
That was the third campground.
All my notes just say wet and cold. The pizza was great.
Oh, so there's this place, if you ever stay in Baraga, there's this place called Irene's Pizza. And it is a true Youper paradise pizza place. Little hole in the wall. You walk in there and it looks like it's straight out of the late 80s. Nothing has changed since then. I think they've been in business for 47 years.
Yeah, the place looked like it.
Yeah.
It was cool, and they all had the most accents of accents.
Yes, that's why I was so glad to take you in there.
Oh, wow. You walk in there and they're already talking. They're not turning it on for me. They're already talking.
Yep.
And I'm like, wow. And I'm mesmerized by this. And every time I open my mouth, I show my city.
Yeah, you did.
And then so I don't want to say much because I don't want them to be like, oh, you.
Yeah. So the day it rained, we knew we wanted to get pizza in Baraga because it's kind of like tradition for Jamie and I. Every time we go to that campground, one of the nights we're there, we do pizza. It
was good.
And I like doing it for more than one reason. One, it's really good. And two, I really like, I like supporting the local community. And it reminds me of the deli. It's just this little family-run place. So we did pizza that day. And then the next day we packed up there and left because we only had the 2 nights in Baraga. And the only reason we had to stay there was because all the other campgrounds were full. So we had no choice. We had to move there. And then we left there and we headed to Muscalonge Lake. And then, oh gosh, the next day was when we woke up and went, oh, you guys went rock hunting? That was when you guys all went down to the beach and you went rock hunting and you came back, and what did you see, Dan? What did you see in the sky over the water?
Oh, yes, I got to see the Northern Lights.
Yes,
That's right. Yep. That was my reward after having a rainy night inside a tent.
Yep.
Which it rained all over my tent. It's like and I just snuggled in my tent, and then the next night I saw the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
It doesn't look as much as it's not as green as it is on television or on the pictures our cameras.
What you saw wasn't as green as it could have been because it was a weak show. Sometimes when you see it, you will see more of the green, but yes the camera lets in more of the light. So
neat. So I'm on this beach area when we're rock hunting, and I forgot to mention this point. You look down until your neck gets sore, and then you look up, and it's the most stars you ever see ever, and they're all brighter than ever. Because there's no lights out there. And then over there was just straight up as wide as you wanted to see the Northern Lights. Yep. It was really, 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 really cool.
So I didn't go down there with you guys again because it was cold. And even though by then we had stopped at Walmart and I did have pants to wear under my pants to keep me warm. But I still didn't have gloves because I didn't have any. But you guys came back and I was because Jamie even said, I think Jamie and Greg both said it. They're like, we were going to come back and get you, but then we didn't because it wasn't that great and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, you should have come back and get me anyway. So we ended up, all three of you and me and Greg walked back down there again. So I did, because I wasn't going to go. And then I sat in the camper and I'm like, every time we go to Muscalonge Lake this time of the year, we see Northern Lights. Every time. Every single time. It doesn't matter. Every time it happens. And when you guys left to go rock hunting, I had that thought. And then Greg came back and he goes, I told Dan we'd see it here every time we come here.
I didn't even notice it because I was so fixated on the rocks. And about 20 minutes in, he's like, Dan, look over there. And it was just green. Yeah. As far as you can see, it looks so neat. Yeah. It looks so neat. So I was pretty stoked about that. So I kept turning off my light. Yeah. And just staring at it. Yeah. And stare at the stars.
So cool. So we ended up going back down there. So I did get some photos of the Northern Lights. No great peaks. It was a big green band, but it was still the Northern Lights.
It was neat.
Yep. And I go through the motions every time I see it because I know I've told you the story and I'm sure I've told the vlog the story a million times that, when we see the Northern Lights, one of the things that there's that story north of the Rainbow Bridge when your dog passes away, and then there's the Rainbow Bridge, and they go north of the Rainbow Bridge, and then the Northern Lights is when the dogs find each other, and then they dance in the sky. So every time I see the Northern Lights, I go through the emotions of, oh, this is so pretty, and then I'm always like, why do I do this to myself? Why do I want to come out here and see this? But I still love to see it every time. So I find, like I said, we were in the camper, and I finally convinced myself, yes, it's cold. Yes, I don't want to walk all the way down there. Yes, it's going to make me cry, but God dang it, I got to do it.
Right. So you were doing lawn exposure stuff. Yeah. I was back on the beach rock hunting with Greg.
Yep.
And it's cool because you just only have the sound, no cars, nothing, just the sound of the waves.
Yeah.
And the most shooting stars I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they go for long periods of time.
It really does. It really does. Yeah. And we did that, and then it was the next morning we got up and we decided we took you to Munising, Michigan, which we'd now driven through 3 times.
Right.
So we took you back there, and we did a couple waterfalls there. Took you to Pictured Rocks. You got to see Pictured Rocks and Miner's Castle.
Yes, that was cool. I like that.
Quite a few waterfalls.
The Pictured Rocks was nice. Yeah. That was really cool. It's interesting to see just the cliff sides, and you can see all the layers of stuff that happened.
So that Pictured Rocks boat cruise that we didn't go on, but it's like a 3-hour boat cruise that goes along that shoreline. So they take you out there and they get you really close to the shoreline so you can see the colors in the rocks. And there's a few places where they like go underneath certain archways. Like we were showing you the archways that had collapsed. Mm-hmm. There's still a few out there that the boat can go up and under and go like really up close to. That's what people do when they come to Munising. I've never been on it ever, and I live here, but supposedly it's really cool. I think Jamie has done it. I haven't done it.
Right. But that would be cool to take one of those.
Yeah, tours. I would like to do that sometime. The other thing, instead of doing the Pictured Rocks cruise, you can actually rent pontoon boats to take out there. So
like by yourself, like unmanaged.
Yep. You take a pontoon, crazy. But then we could bring the dogs. So we could bring the dogs. They would have to have life jackets and tethers, and nobody would ever let go. But we could bring the dogs.
One of the interesting things is like there was so much dangerous stuff. Where was it where you slipped and fell?
That was at one of the waterfalls in Munising. That was the second waterfall we went to in Munising.
There's so much erosion above us, and so much stuff. Like I went underneath a tree. I went underneath a huge like piece of a tree, and that's coming down like now.
Yeah.
Yes, I was not worried. I was not scared or anything like that.
You went under a waterfall?
Yeah. But there's no like person telling you not to do it. There's no graffiti on the wall. No. The worst thing that happened there on anything that was defaced at all is people carved their names into the wood railings.
Yeah.
A lot. And what if I found my last name?
Yeah, you did.
Somebody wrote my last name on there. I'm like, that's so uncommon. They spelled it right. Other than that, like nobody's spray painting the rocks. Nobody's doing any of that stuff.
No, there's not really a lot of that happens out there.
No, I'll tell you what. I wanted a piece of the rock mine when we were down in the mine.
Yeah.
So bad that I asked Jamie, I was like, hey, Jamie, like, are they going to check our pockets when we come back up to the top? Because I always wanted a piece of the rock. He's like, I love it. Because I'm sure Jamie knows. He's like, oh. So I hid a piece of the mine in my sock. Yep. And then when I get to the top, I look at the rock, and it looks like every other dumb rock that's on the ground where I'm standing. I threw it down on the ground. I'm like, you probably don't light up anyway. There was a million things that happened. I mean, we can't keep going. I have pages of stuff.
Isn't that crazy?
I have pages of stuff. We went and saw a lot of stuff. We did a lot of miles, over 1,000 miles, maybe like towards 1,200 miles.
We had just over 1,300 miles of driving in the car. I checked it right when we get out. It was just over 1,300 miles.
Yes.
Well, actually, it would be almost 1,400 adding in the miles from Jamie's Jeep from the day we drove Jamie's Jeep.
Yes.
So 1,400 miles in 7 days is what we drove.
One of the roads we went on to the next campsite, we listened to Google Maps.
Yeah.
And we went up an 11-mile dirt bumpy road with the trailer.
Yep. Covered in mud.
Everything was covered in mud. We recorded it too.
Yes,
That's
we
the
did.
thing. These stories all have
video
visuals
proof.
and video proof behind it. Yes.
And from the time this goes up, the vlogs will start going up Monday. Monday will be the start.
It will be the start, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's so much footage we have to go through.
There's so much footage.
There's so much one-shots that I try to make. Anytime I made chip reviews in the car, potato chips that we got. So there's a lot of fun stuff. I don't know, we could go on and on, but just so much stuff happened. We'll be able to talk about this for a long time. We'll be able to talk about this on live shows and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
real quick. So I don't know. My bread count was like 30.
At least.
Yeah.
At
Wow.
least.
Wow.
You ate a whole loaf of bread plus.
I ate a whole, like, what's bread I made of? A cow. I ate a whole, like, cows. I ate a whole.
Yeah, but like
bundle of bread.
the one day I checked my Fitbit and it said we did like 19,000 steps,
There
and
were
another
some
day
miles we were doing like 6 miles.
another
and
day
5
we
miles.
were like 16,000
Yes.
steps. So see, you eat a lot of bread when you're camping because you need those carbohydrates because you burn. Look at how hungry we were every time we were hungry.
Yes, we would
It
just
wasn't like
calorie up.
Yeah, it wasn't like we're eating just to eat. It was like we're eating because we're starving
Yes.
because we've just hiked for forever.
Yes. It was good. What else happened? Riding with Jess in a car is a lot of fun. She changes the station every 30 seconds, maybe 30 seconds.
If you're
It's
lucky.
like TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like she's scrolling through TikTok on the radio.
I have TikTok.
Otherwise,
brain.
I don't know. We had a lot of quiet time.
We did.
We
had
chatted here and there. We did not talk about work,
We tried really hard not to talk about
which
work.
was pretty dang easy.
I think I had to pull out my computer the one day and get some stuff for work. And then, I made sure to try to post an Instagram photo at least every day whenever we had service because, we were in and out of service. So we did do that. And then I think it was the one day when we were having some downtime and I got distracted and started talking about work. And I looked at you and I went, we just did it. We just talked about work.
Yep.
Like we said we weren't going to do this and we just did. And then we just like completely changed the subject.
I think under an hour
Yeah.
total of all the 7 days.
Yeah.
I would upload stuff to Instagram when we drive by the camp.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi spots.
The Wi-Fi spots. I would upload something because I
Yep.
didn't really have any data. Otherwise, we didn't talk about work or anything. We made sure to like just have. I don't know. We just had fun.
It was vacation.
It was fun. It was really fun to camp. It was really fun to see all the stuff I'd never seen before.
Yeah.
It was really fun to get fudge from the Mackinac.
You got Mackinac fudge.
I got Mackinac fudge.
We crossed over the bridge today with the wind whipping across the Straits of Mackinac, and I had to drive the camper 20 miles an hour, and that was terrifying, but we survived.
We learned about white knuckle driving.
White knuckle driving.
White knuckle driving.
But did you die?
Right? Oh, that's it. Look, there's just so much stuff, but we'll have to just talk about it as it comes up. It did on the way home though. It was a windy night last night. I thought we were gonna blow away.
Yeah, last night last night the wind was supposed to be like 15 to 20 mile an hour with up to 30 to 35 mile an hour gusts.
It sure was.
Yeah, so it was steady wind, and then you'd get that big gust of wind. And that was a little bit rough. Even for staying in the camper, it was loud. So I knew it was loud for you guys. What was worse, the wind or the rain? Like for sleeping, what made it harder?
The wind made it harder to sleep than the cold and the rain.
Yeah,
because the rain was like steady and it was good drops and it sounded good and stuff. The wind would come up in gusts.
Yeah.
And my town's windy, but I don't have the trees to back it up. The trees were just, because there's huge trees there, just going back and forth, and it was so loud. And Greg said he could see lightning through his tent. I could not.
Yeah.
But so I thought the wind was probably the rudest.
Yeah, right.
Nothing was miserable. Nothing was bad. Nothing was anything. I was trying to figure out like what my favorite moment is or what my least favorite moment is. And there's not a least favorite moment. Oh, I think we were talking about when I broke my stick.
Yeah. Yep.
I was pretty bummed out.
That was probably your least favorite moment.
I was pretty bummed out to break my stick, but I got another stick.
You did.
I got another stick, so that made up for it. Otherwise, I thought it was great and amazing, and I had fun, and I had no complaints, and I didn't feel dirty or gross. You did good. Yeah. Yeah. What's my report card?
You get an A++. You did good. You didn't complain. There was no point. Honestly, there was no point in time where I was actually worried about you, where I was like, oh, we're going to have to make sure Dan doesn't do this or make sure that he doesn't do this. Like just, and not because, not for any other reason except that you'd never done it before. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't points in time where I felt like we had to babysit you.
Right.
I felt like you did. You followed in everybody else's footsteps really well. I could tell that you were watching what everybody else was doing and you were gauging what you should do based off that, which was great. It means we didn't have to tell you what to do 20 times. It wasn't like we were constantly being like, don't do that, do this, do in a babysitting type way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think you did really good. And you know what? I tell you what, props to you, dude. You slept in a tent for 7 nights and it was cold at night. Like it was between 40 and 50 almost every night except one night. There are a lot of people listening to this that probably wouldn't do that. I tell you what, I wouldn't do it.
Honestly, I felt unfazed.
I
popped up in the morning and off I was go.
I think it's great. I think you did great. I definitely would enjoy going with you again. I feel like it wasn't, and again, it's not like I wasn't really worried about any of that. I was more worried about, I wanted to make sure that you had a good experience doing this so that it would be something you wanted to do again. You guys made it the best experience. You and Greg and Jamie. Jamie at one point tried to hide a rock for me to find just so I would be stoked and stuff. But then I ended up finding them on my own anyway. But like, you guys were so great to me and that helped. Jamie was using the CB to be our tour guide. Yes, that was funny too. That was funny. That was funny. But there's going to be way more stories coming out of this because so much stuff happened, especially since after we start unpacking this videos. Yeah, I'm curious to see how these videos turned out. So you guys get all the bonus stuff in the podcast. That's why you need to follow us here, because you get to hear all the behind the scenes stuff, the behind the scenes of the behind the scenes. Yep. Before we get out of here, I want to rapid fire some of these questions that we asked on the CCMouse Facebook page. Go follow us on Facebook at CCMouse Podcast. I asked if you guys had any camping questions for us. Yay! So real quick, and they're all pretty much directed at me. Have you noticed that? Yeah, I did. Even when you post pictures and stuff online, everybody's like, I don't see Dan in this picture. I think it's great because most of the time, did he fall off a cliff? Most of the time they're directed at me. This time it's all on you, buddy. It is, and it's interesting what you guys at home want to, or what's on your mind. Right. So I'll hurry up. Shannon says, how is Dan handling sleeping in a tent in like the great outdoors? Like I just said, I loved the tent. I thought it was fun. It was like my own room, and I liked it. I felt safe after the first night when I got the crumbs in my tent. Christine says, where do you take showers? Please don't ever be afraid to shower at a camp. Yeah. At a real campsite. At state campgrounds. Yes. And these campgrounds didn't have holes in the grounds for bathrooms. They were really clean bathrooms. Yeah. Really clean bathrooms. Becky said, did Dan touch a waterfall? I only touched a little bit of the water on a couple of them. Yeah. Some of them were very aggressive. Yeah. But you drank from a waterfall. But I did, yes. Yes. It tasted better than Arrowhead. Crystal said, well, would Dan go back camping again next year? And does he love camping? I do love camping. It was way better than my last camping experience. Way better. This showed me that camping can be enjoyable, and you don't have to sacrifice to have the fun. You don't have to lay on the ground or stink for a bunch of days or be dirty all the time. Yep. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all. Yeah. We were never dirty. We were never like ew or gross or any of that stuff. Jim said, did Dan find a man bear pig? I didn't find any wildlife at all. That was kind of a bummer. We didn't really see anything. We saw a couple deer. We saw some eagles, lots of chipmunks and squirrels, but like we didn't run into any bear. We weren't really in the right area for the bear and moose. We needed to go more backcountry, and we just didn't really have the time for it. It flew by. Yeah. We were hitting waterfalls. It was great because there was only 10 or 15 minutes in between each waterfall to get there and stuff like that. Then he said, have you, Jamie, or Greg messed with Dan, and was it caught on camera? Jamie would mess with me. Yeah. Yeah. None of it was caught on camera because a lot of it was at night on the beach. Yeah. Yeah. At night on the beach, where none of the cameras would film it at all. But they definitely had a good time with me. Definitely. Nancy says, did you see any interesting critters? I did not. I saw a cute red-tailed squirrel. Yep. Yeah. And chipmunk friends. Yep. And then that was it. There was nothing. Probably my favorite was staring for at least a half an hour over 2-night spread at the crawdads. Yeah. Yeah. Just flopping around in the water, trying to figure out like, what's your point? What's your point? Elizabeth said, for Dan, what is something that you didn't expect while camping that you found really you liked and enjoyed? It was the rock hunting. Yeah. It was definitely the rock hunting. I definitely see the challenge. You just never know. It's free gambling. Yeah. You just never know what you're going to get. And some of these rocks look amazing. Some of these rocks look rad under the black light. And as soon as you turn off the black light, they look like boring. Yes, there'd be like a moss that was there that was like if you were to take a glow stick and blow it up everywhere. Yeah. So sometimes you'd get on the bottom of your feet and you would walk around and you could see where your tracks were. Yep. I love that. What is something you didn't expect that you disliked or hated while camping? I really try to figure out what my down point was, and it was probably just breaking that stick. Yeah. That was it. Yeah, because even the rain wasn't bad.
No, it was just a different night of like just different experiences.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I loved everything. I thought it was great. Has Dan set himself on fire yet? No, I made sure that I did not set myself on fire.
We did let you start a fire, though.
That is true.
Yeah.
Steve said, "Let's hear Dan's take on Pitch Black." Not the movie either. Who could call on that one? It was the first time we went rock hunting, and I didn't know what to expect. And sometimes you just turn off all your lights just to kind of look around.
Yeah.
And there was multiple times rock hunting where I was there on the beach, pitch black. I don't know my surroundings. I wasn't there in the daytime. There's a million billion stars, and it's quiet. You hear everything.
Mm-hmm.
Things coming out of bushes that don't even exist.
Yep.
I liked that.
Yeah.
I liked that a lot. It was really...
It's almost surreal and like calming.
But I wasn't afraid.
Yeah.
I should have been way more afraid. I wasn't afraid.
There's no reason to be afraid.
Adrian always talking about food. What is y'all's favorite campfire food? Skillet pancakes, Denver toast, s'mores. I just want the taste of the results of it. I don't care what's in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That makes more sense now that you've done it, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was good. We had s'mores one of the nights.
Yep.
And that was good too. But putting literally everything else in the pie iron. Hamburgers.
We did hamburgers.
We did sandwiches. We did tuna sandwiches.
Ham and cheese with horseradish mustard.
Yes, pie stuffs.
Yeah.
Yep.
We had a lot of sandwiches.
We made pizzas in them.
We made pizza in the pie iron. They're so good.
And everybody's been camping so many times. You already had diced ham.
Uh-huh.
You had the mini
pepperonis. Yep.
So all that stuff was good. All that stuff was really good. Dan, how many rocks have you found? A lot. I came back with a bag of rocks. I don't know how I'm going to explain this.
Yeah, right.
Or any of the enthusiasm behind it, but I have a lot of rocks.
Yeah.
I have a lot of rocks, and I'm going to be shining black lights on them.
Yep.
I thought that was a lot of fun. So, yeah, I found at least a dozen rocks.
Yeah.
What is the one thing, Bonnie says, that you couldn't live without in your camper? The camper was like this great timeout spot.
Yeah.
You could go in there for a second, and you can work technology. Like, I was able to open a fridge.
Yep.
I was able to turn on the sink if I needed to, and we were hardly ever in there. But it was nice. The one night it was raining. Yes. We got to sit in there and eat pizza inside instead of outside.
And we played blackjack
in the rain. We played in the rain. We played some blackjack, and then right after that, we went back outside.
Yeah.
But there was no reason for us to have to sit out in the soggy rain to eat pizza. So I don't know. I think that's it. What's yours? Probably the built-in bathroom.
Yeah.
I had to get up and go walk
to
the bathroom. Every time I'd be laying in my tent and I would hear the flushing in the camper.
Yep.
I'd be like, "You lucky."
Yep. That's one of the reasons I bought it.
Yep. So I loved it. I had a great time every moment of it. I still look like a mountain man. I wonder if I'll leave it for Dantix or not. I don't know.
That's up to you.
I might put a camping background behiin me.
There's a slight chance we'll do a live stream tonight, depending on how we feel.
Is there? Okay. Yeah. Maybe between now and between now and the next couple days.
Yeah.
I forget what day of the week it is.
It's Tuesday.
It's camping. It's camping.
Yeah.
That's it. I had a great time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yes.
It was super fun. I'm glad you were able to come out here and go with us.
Oh, me too. I needed this more so of anything. It felt good to get out of my seat and walk around and run around and feel loose and not feel just like I was stuck in my seat at my computer for so long that I'm not used to.
Right.
And I'm not used to desk jobs per se. I'm used to working at the bike shop and walking around and stuff. So it was really nice to get up and walk around. We should end this, but I feel like there's a million more things that we did. We're just gonna have to keep on.
Yeah, we'll have to tell them the story about the fight at the campground last night
where
the police showed up.
Or the crazy agate lady.
That
stuck her head out and told us off.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to come in there unless we spend enough money, unless we make it worth her while.
We'll have to tell that. We'll have to tell that story.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so all right, how long have we been going for?
An hour and a half.
Okay, let's stop this.
You started off talking like we were at the house, and you've brought your voice back to the level like you had it when we were camping, like you're whispering.
Oh, I don't know why.
I don't know why either. I thought it was funny. I was going to tell you that a few minutes ago. I'm like, Dan, we're not camping. You don't have to whisper.
I don't have to use my inside voice.
No.
Well, I don't want people coming out of tents yelling at me. Not even coming out of tents, sending their wives. This guy was huge.
Yeah,
this guy was 6'3", 6'4". He was a big dude.
Yeah, and he sent his wife
over there. Yeah. Go back to your home. Oh, that was great. That was so great. I was trying not to giggle too loud.
Oh, I wasn't.
Because I didn't want him to come over here. And then there was only one spot in between us and them. And those people left.
We didn't even tell the story about the lady playing the lute and singing the songs.
No, nothing. That was the best.
Yeah, the lady next to us was playing the lute, and then it turns out the guy studied, I don't know, Greg told me and I already forgot.
It was like astrophysics or something crazy like that.
Yeah, and he hiked across the United States, hitchhiked across the United States, and she was playing her lute and singing songs, and they were really cool.
Great.
That were some cool campers.
Yeah. But after they left, it was only us and the crazy people.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be quiet because I didn't want her lumbering over trying to tell me off. As soon as she finds out I'm from LA,
right?
Then she has the upper hand on me, even though she's a downstater.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Anything else before we go?
I don't think so. It was fun. We had fun. The dogs did good.
Yeah. How do you feel? You feel good? Are you tired?
I think I'm okay.
Way to go. You drove that camper.
Yeah.
You drove the heck out of that camper.
Yep. Yeah. I'd say it's not that today was the hardest. Today was the hardest pulling it because I really had to pay a lot more attention because we had those wind gusts all the way home. Windy. Yeah. So the camper would catch it every once in a while and you felt like you were driving a kite. So today was a lot of both hands on the wheel, pay attention, watch the trees, where's the wind coming across, and then getting to the bridge was a little nerve-wracking. But we did it. We made it across the bridge.
Yes.
And,
I got my fudge.
Yeah, you got fudge.
Maybe we'll have some fudge taste tests on the live stream.
That's a good idea.
I have lots of it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It's so soft, though. I don't know how I'm going to take it back with me. It's my carry-on.
Will they let you take it back? Do they let you take food in?
I'm not sure.
If anything, we could ship it to you.
That's your answer for everything.
Yeah, we'll just ship it to you. We'll go get a box, throw all your stuff in there, and ship it out to your house.
Well, that's basically our rundown on camping.
Yeah, that's also our longest podcast ever.
It was, and we could talk for another hour.
Oh, easily, because I keep thinking
we ate.
Yep, I keep thinking of all the different things
chips. And we went into the bar that one night.
Yeah.
Not one night. That one stop. We went to the bar. All the places that you stop to go to the bathroom at, and just the workers that are there.
Yeah.
I deliberately asked a lady in one of the towns, like, y'all have a mall around here? And she said, you ain't from around here. I'm like, you think? You think? My words per minute are way higher than yours. Yeah, I'm not from around here. Okay. We'll leave this for future episodes.
Right.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Longest. Yeah, if you made it to the end, let me know in the comments.
Podcast ever.
If you've made it to the end. Yes. Yeah. Gosh, I feel like we're leaving so many things on.
We are. But they'll be in the vlogs. So if you really want to see it, subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Close to 1 million.
Yeah, the dogs are almost to 1 million.
What are you, like 10,000 left to 1 million?
Less than 10,000.
Holy
less
cow.
than 11,000 away as of the
nothing.
time we're recording this.
Oh my gosh. This is going to be so exciting.
It's so crazy.
Yes.
It's
All right.
So crazy.
Let's do this. That'll do it for this week's episode of the CCMouse Podcast. Listen to us every week on your favorite music app. Subscribe to us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at CCMouse Podcast. Rep our merch at CCMousePodcast.shop, and we'll see you guys live or next week. So we'll see you guys again. Same mouse time, same mouse podcast. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
We went camping.
We did a thing.
Yes.
And then we just did a really long thing.
Yes. All right. High five.
Yay.